if you are committed to at least going to investigate and gather the data that you need to provide the solution that's going to be beneficial for that parent, for that child, then you're doing things the right way. What's going on, aspiring school leader? I am Dr. Donovan Smalls II, and welcome to Beyond the Classroom. I help aspiring school leaders land their first leadership role, navigate complex dynamics, enhance communication skills, and drive instructional excellence. Today, we are going to be talking about 5 keys to navigating critical conversations with parents. And I'm really excited about this topic because although as an aspiring leader, you might be learning how to engage parents in the learning process as it relates to students, right? How to create outreach programs so that families feel connected to the school community. I think all of that is great. I think one aspect that is often undervalued is your ability as a school leader to have critical conversations with parents. Because as a school leader, that's what you're going to be doing a lot of the time, right? And I want you to have the right perspective when you're having conversations with parents, because I want you to understand where they're coming from. They're coming from the perspective of every single day, they are expecting that their child is getting a high-level education, that they are going to be safe in the school building, because you are literally caring for their most valuable possession. And so as a school leader, you have to be able to have these critical conversations that allow parents to see that you are the right person for the role. And so there are 5 keys that I want to talk about today to give you the perspective that you are going to need to have these critical conversations, because they're going to come as a school leader. When you step into that school leadership role, you are going to have some critical conversations. And again, I want you to have the right perspective, because this is going to be extremely important. This is an aspect of leadership that is extremely complex. But if you have some sort of framework, if you have a guide to have these conversations, I can assure you that when you do, you're going to have them more effectively. So as we get into our 5 keys, our first one is, number 1, reassure that you have the best interests of the child. So let's say a parent is coming to you with a concern. It could be a concern in the classroom. It could be a concern about another student that their child has encountered. Whatever the situation is, you want to reassure that you have the best interest of the child. When parents know you're on their child's side, trust becomes the bridge to productive conversations. So you have to be an active listener. It is your responsibility to curate an environment where parents feel safe enough to express how they feel. Regardless of what you think about the situation, you have to understand that in order to have a productive conversation, you have to provide the environment to allow them to, whatever the situation is, express their emotions, express what their concerns are, express what their child has brought to their attention. And so it is your responsibility to do that. And the way that you do that is when you have that conversation, when you receive that phone call, be a listener, be an active listener, take notes, because those notes are going to really allow you to not misinterpret what the parent is saying, but it's also going to ensure that you're not being misinterpreted when you explain your response. So when you're having that conversation, be an active listener, reassure that you have the best interests of the child, and make sure that you are constantly taking notes. I know you're enjoying this episode, but I wanted to let you know about my latest book, Beyond the Classroom, helping aspiring school leaders navigate interpersonal and organizational complexities for greater instructional impact. Now, this book is going to help you navigate the learning curve as you transition from being a classroom teacher to a school leader, manage your busy schedule and reclaim your time to effectively be an instructional leader, take a holistic approach towards school leadership, and increase your instructional impact by fostering a school culture of feedback and coaching. So if you are an aspiring school leader looking to be an effective practitioner, head over to my website and grab your copy today. Number 2, you want to validate their concerns. Validate their concerns. Parents want to be heard before they're willing to listen. I'll say that again. Parents want to be heard before they're willing to listen. So you must acknowledge first and then address. Acknowledge first and then address. So when you're listening to this conversation, when you're taking your notes, you want to make sure that you are acknowledging the concern of the parent, that you are validating their concern, that you are not just being dismissive to say, oh, well, that didn't happen. How do you know that it didn't happen? Even if you were right there, you still want to give some validation to what it is that they're expressing. Because here's the thing, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, is that you are responsible for caring for their child, their most valuable and most prized possession. And so you have to keep that in mind, regardless of the hundreds or thousands of students that you are going to be collectively responsible for caring for and for educating and for leading and for mentoring and for empowering. You have to understand that when a parent brings a concern to you, that they're not necessarily worried about the other thousands of students that you have to lead. Their concern is their child, and rightfully so. Think about it. If you have a child and you are bringing a concern to the administration of your child's school, you're not necessarily concerned. Of course, you want everyone to be safe. Of course, you want everyone to have a high level education. But in this particular instance, you are focused on your child, and that's what the parent is doing. And so you don't want to be or come across as being dismissive, right? Regardless of what the code of conduct says, regardless of what the standard of the district says, you still want to validate their concern, because it's showing that you have a level of humanity that is not just hiding behind whatever the expectations of the school are, right? You are validating the concerns. I understand. I hear you, right? And that allows that trust to be built. Because if there's no trust, it's going to be hard for you to build that relationship with that parent so that they can see that you actually care for their child. So number 2 was validate their concerns. Number 3, provide a solution. Every tough conversation should end with a clear path forward, not just a list of problems. So you want to validate the concerns. You want to hear what the parent is saying, but you also want to figure out a solution. And even if that solution isn't necessarily accomplished or established during that phone conversation or that in-person conversation, you want to provide a solution at least of investigating whatever it is that their concern is. That is also a solution. You have to be able to gather the data to provide a solution. That is going to give you time to actually see what's going on, because again, you're hearing one perspective. You're hearing the perspective of the parent, you're validating the concerns, but you also are giving yourself the ability to provide a concrete answer, right? by saying, listen, I hear your concerns, I'm validating your concerns, but I'm going back to the teacher, to the student, to gather as much data about what happened so that I can provide you with an informed response. That is a solution. You don't want to just give lip service. You don't want to just be an active listener and you're hearing the concerns of the parent, but you're not also providing the solution. Because at the end of the day, the parent is wondering what's next. What are we going to do about the concern that I'm bringing to you? And if you don't have a solution, then the conversation might feel unproductive. And like I mentioned, it might not be that you have a concrete solution at that moment. You're thinking on your feet. This might be the first time that you're actually hearing this particular concern because it wasn't raised to you previously. But if you are committed to at least going to investigate and gather the data that you need to provide the solution that's going to be beneficial for that parent, for that child, then you're doing things the right way. So number 3 was provide a solution. I know you're enjoying this episode, but I wanted to let you know about my latest book, Beyond the Classroom, helping aspiring school leaders navigate interpersonal and organizational complexities for greater instructional impact. Now, this book is going to help you navigate the learning curve as you transition from being a classroom teacher to a school leader, manage your busy schedule and reclaim your time to effectively be an instructional leader, take a holistic approach towards school leadership, and increase your instructional impact by fostering a school culture of feedback and coaching. So if you are an aspiring school leader looking to be an effective practitioner, head over to my website and grab your copy today. And number 4, you want to follow up and follow through. Accountability isn't just a promise, it's the key to building long-term trust with parents. Follow up and follow through. So you provided a solution, you investigated the situation. Be sure to follow up and follow through. Whether that's through an email, you're talking to the parent, I heard your concerns. I'm glad we had an opportunity to speak about those concerns. Here is the data that I was able to gather, and here is the solution moving forward. I will ensure that your child is safe. I will ensure that your child is receiving the highest and most world-class experience educationally that we can possibly provide to them, right? Like, these are the conversations that you want to have. You want to build a level of trust by being able to follow up and follow through. Without following up and following through, it may seem like there wasn't actually a solution. Yes, you gathered the data, but what are we doing about this issue that I brought to you? So when you follow up and you follow through, that means that you are monitoring what's happening. That means that you took time to investigate the situation, you gathered your data, and you're providing them with a concrete solution and ensuring that if anything pops up in the future, that you will be on their side in terms of the communication. A lot of the issues that happen, right, when a parent brings a concern to you can be solved through communication, being proactive and not reactive. If you see something, say something. So the best way that you can build that relational equity with parents is by making sure, number 4, that you follow up and follow through. And lastly, don't take things personally. This might be one of the most important things that I can tell you. Do not take things personally. Their frustration isn't about you. It's about their child. So stay focused on solutions, not emotions. In order for you to take or to not take things personally, as a school leader, when you step into that role, if you're having a heated conversation, a critical conversation, a conversation about their child where you might be feeling attacked, you have to have a level of emotional intelligence that allows you to see that this parent is bringing a valid concern to you, But this isn't an attack on who you are. And here's what this is going to require. You having a level of emotional intelligence is going to require you to separate who you are from what you do. Because who you are is not what you do. Yes, you might be a school leader, but being a school leader isn't the totality of your humanity. It is an aspect of what you do. It is an aspect of your assignment. It is an aspect of what you have been called to do. But at the end of the day, if somebody is attacking you, attacking your character and integrity, if you know who you are, it might sting a little bit in terms of your ego, the quality of work that you do. But at the end of the day, this is not who you are. And so you cannot take it personally. Do not take the conversation or the things that might be said toward you. Do not take that home. Do not take it personally. This is what comes with leadership. This is what you signed up for. When you become a leader, you become somebody that is on the front line of defense. And what I mean by that is there are going to be times where you might be blindsided by the comments and by the situation that may be occurring. So you might not have any idea. But the expectation might be that because you are the leader, I can bring my frustration to you because that's literally what you are. You're collectively responsible for the leadership of the building or of the department. And so unfortunately or fortunately, right? Fortunately, you have an opportunity to write your own narrative by not taking things personally, by making sure that you focus on the work, you focus on the fact that a parent is bringing to you a valid concern and you need to provide a solution. Don't take it personally. There are going to be situations where people are going to be disgruntled, and rightfully so, right? They're talking about the education of their child. And so in order for you to make sure that you don't take it personally, you have to let go of your ego. You have to start working on your levels of emotional intelligence to regulate them in a way that handles things professionally for the best interest of children. So today we went over 5 keys to navigating critical conversations with parents. Number 1, reassure the best interest of the child, validate their concerns, provide a solution, follow up and follow through, and don't take things personally. Thank you for joining me today. If this episode added value, I hope that you will share it with somebody else. As always, I hope you have a great week of teaching, leading, and learning. Take care.